Hi everybody and welcome to the second instance of us looking at a Forge Fast Expand build of Protoss versus Zerg. Once again, this is Seeker playing on my Blue Archon account, facing Bytok, the red Zerg in the upper left corner. It's again a game on Tal'darim Altar. And this map is really really strong for Forge Fast Expand builds for Protoss. So once again, you're seeing what I was explaining last time. Probe number 8 you'll send to the front to build a pylon, a little back so it covers this area so you can put down the forge there. And I'm thinking maybe it would be possible to also place the pylon somewhere around here, so it covers all of the choke actually, so you can also place buildings around here. But I think it's going to be a little exposed then to roaches. So what happens again is the building more probes, and I think I will rally some probe again to the front. And the first probe is scouting. I won't be finding my opponent at the first try. So come on, where's the probe? Yeah, right, here's probe number 13 is going to the front once again. And as always, don't forget to reset your rally point to the minerals again after you do this, otherwise you'll end up with a lot of probes in the front. So I'm placing down a forge here and going to scout with that probe as well, because it's a 4-player map and I want to know really early what's the Zerg going after. And here first I'm going here because I want to block an expansion if it would be coming, because around this time this is when the Zerg would be wanting to put down his expansion and I really want to block it. And as I move out with the probe, I'm trying to catch any drone that's coming here trying to build the expansion. Exactly, and I get the first hit off on the drone, so it needs to retreat because otherwise my probe will kill it. So successfully delayed this expansion and the probe will have to go home or be killed. And now I know I have my forge. Whoopsie, I think he misplaced his hatch. Whoa! Yeah, unfortunately my probe goes down, so I'm probably not going to be placing any kind of proxy, any kind of cannons here at the base. Plus I know that he had a relatively early pool, so pool before hatch, so it's not exactly safe, and he has his overlord here. So this player knows what can happen if you don't have an overlord in this position, so that's why he's positioning it here, I'm assuming. And I'm sending out one more probe just to check for what else he's doing. Maybe I can get a scout inside his base, but the Zerglings keep me from scouting. So now I know, oh damn, there's Zerglings coming, so I need to put a cannon first. And this time I once again I went with the risky kind of build, in that I put down the nexus before I put down a cannon. So here you'll see an instance where there will be Zerglings arriving before my cannon finishes, before your cannon finishes. So what I'm doing here is I'm noticing, oh shoot, Zerglings coming. I have a wall off up till here. There's only one spot open here, so I can just build a gateway here, and I had enough minerals fortunately, so I can just place a gateway here and the Zerglings won't be able to run by, and they will have to retreat once the cannon comes up. And what you can do afterwards, in this case, you can actually let the, so of course I have taken both of my gases sometime after I put down the second, the nexus. So what I can do in this case is I want to keep this warp gate up for as long as this hasn't finished. And what I'll do now is, once this finishes, I'll cancel this one and just place a cybernetics core in its place. And I'm doing this one spot removed, so I can place a zealot here and put it on hold position. That's very important. That's something that could easily be overlooked. You have to put the zealot on hold position, so you so it stays there even if units come and want to attack it and run away and stuff like that. So it doesn't move, so it actually does block this little space here, and you'll see in a second exactly. I have this on hotkey D, so this is my hold position thingy, so nothing can slip through here. And cybernetics core will be finished soon. And once again, because I really like the transition, and this was the goal that I had for these casts, I wanted to showcase the Mass Air builds after Forge Fast Expand against the Zerg. So when you go Mass Air, when you go to Stargates, you really need gas. You really need the gas, so right now I'm at 36 probes, and I know I can put down my assimilators already because I will need a lot of gas. And I'm ahead by 8 harvesters compared to the Zerg, so that's perfect. The only thing that's not perfect is that I have 100 energy here and 60 energy here on my Nexus, but I'll also be spending that on Stargate units, so that's kind of fine, but it's kind of not. And what do we have here? Cue special music, because there is a fleet beacon, or fleet bacon as some people like to call it, in production. So what is this going to mean? I don't know. It's certainly not going to be anything ridiculous, of course. I'm not the one to do any kind of ridiculous stuff. Right. Actually, I like the music. Or maybe it's a bit counterproductive. Okay, so now here's one of the things that Zerg can do against you that I did not tell you in the last game, which is of course a Baneling bust, because your wall, the way I am doing the wall, because I'm not walling off completely, and I'll pause here for a second before the Baneling start rolling in. The way I'm playing the way I'm walling off in the front is I like to keep one spot open so I can always move in and out. Which is kind of useful if there's a threat of roaches, because then at least you can get out if you want to. So if you make some stalkers, then you can get out. But one problem is that if your opponent gets Banelings, he can just bomb the Zealot here, and the Zealot goes down to Banelings really easily, and then there will be a hole in your defenses. So we'll see how that comes into play, because of course if you didn't have, if I had walled that off as I did in the beginning with the gateway here, or then with the cyber core here, so that this would be a full block, then killing, I think the Forge is the weakest building here. Yes, the Forge is the weakest one, so it's still 800 hit points. That is a ton of Banelings you need. I won't do the maths now, but 8 is definitely not enough to kill a Forge. So that would be a lot more expensive for the Zerg. So that's one of the reasons why sometimes it can be good to just wall off completely, and then you'll just destroy the cyber core later and just rebuild it somewhere else before you destroy it. And that's only 150 minerals lost, so it's acceptable. Okay, so we see the Zerg coming in. It's now 9 minutes into the game. The Zerg has a decent number of harvesters, and now he's going for the Baneling bust because he thinks, oh, maybe he won't have any army at the moment. But of course I do have almost 2 Void Rays out, so one is out, one is almost finished, and we'll see what happens. The Zerg will of course be going for this for the Zealots. One mistake I'm making is that I put both Zealots in the same spot, and now they are both dead. This is going to be really annoying because I'll have a ton of links in my mineral lines, which sucks. But you'll see he won't be able to kill very many of those Zerglings because I'm doing something smart here with my probes, which is something I've learned from Voitra. The most efficient way to make sure that there is not a lot of space in the sense, or attacking area for Zerglings, is if you bunch up all your units in one spot. So the best way to do it with probes or with any other kind of harvesters is to just send them all in one gas. So they will stay in one spot, and then you just send them from here, send them over to the other one, or to a mineral patch or something. And then you won't lose too many of them. And what I also could have done is just surrounded the Zerglings with all of my workers and helped killing them, which may even have been more would have even been more efficient than the way I did it now, but it's fine. I didn't lose too much. The Zerg spent a lot more minerals and gas than I did on this, and he could run. Actually, it would be smarter to run all of these in and just, you know, cause more chaos inside my base. But actually, it's not. Yeah, I don't know why he's not doing that. Maybe he thinks maybe it's walled off again with Zealot, but yeah, it's not. Whatever. Even if he were to get in all of these Banelings with 2 cannons, not that many would survive, and I would definitely keep most of my workers. But what he's going for now is just killing my cybernetics core, which, you know, for me is just 150 minerals, and for him he just lost around 600 or so with those Zerglings, with those Banelings. And what do we have here? Epic moment coming up. Boom! It is a ridiculous, overpowered strategy that I'm using here. It's the mothership. Ladies and gentlemen, you can actually pull this off with this kind of build against the Zerg, especially at the lower levels of play, because A, no one is really expecting that, and most Zergs just don't know how to counter it. They will forget detection, or they will just build pure Hydra or something to counter it, which really doesn't work if you do it the way I do it. So yeah, you can have some fun with this. So what you want to do is, you know, get some upgrades in your cybernetics core, and I'm rebuilding mine somewhere over here. You just want to get a bunch of upgrades, and again he manages to run in with a couple of links, but I'm not really concerned about that. I really should have had a sentry here and blocked this off with a zealot once again, but I can also cloak all my stuff with the mothership, so the Zerglings cannot actually see the probes they want to be killing, which of course I would have to move the... yeah, thank you. Yeah, okay. So this is my transition for this build. I'm getting a lot of gateways because I just want to be able to spend all my money. And other than that, I'm just massing up on the air units. I already have 3 Void Rays, 1 Phoenix, the mothership of course. Super important in any Protoss army. Haha. And we may as well make the most use of it that we can for as long as we have it, because in Heart of the Swarm it's probably going to be removed. At least that's the current state of things. So yeah, let's have some fun with the mothership. Now the thing is, if you're going mass air after, and I lost some probes which I didn't replace. I'm only at 26 on each base, and I would like to be at 29 or something, but it's not too bad. Usually what you really should be doing when you're going for mass air after Forge Fast Expand is you need a lot of gas. You really need gas, because the way the build, as I see it, works best is if you get a lot of upgrades for your air units, and air units themselves, they cost so much gas, it's ridiculous. And especially if you want to get stuff like charge for your zealots and some upgrades for your zealots as well, so they are more useful than they are without, then you just need a lot of gas. So I should have killed these rocks before moving out, so I could place down a 3rd expansion and maybe even a 4th expansion, because right now I'm keeping the Zerg confined on these bases because he knows I have air superiority here. I have map control. He can't really move out with Hydras because they are so slow when they are not on creep, and he doesn't really have the best creep spread, like almost no creep spread. So, and this was one of the first games where I actually played mass air and with mothership, and I wasn't really sure how much stuff do I need to be able to combat this number of Hydras. I saw here 18 Hydras with some spine support here in the front, 2 Queens and 2 Spores, and I wasn't really sure. But if we look at the army tab, it's actually ridiculous, because I have, in terms of army value, I had here for a second before I gave Zerg more time to mass units, I had more than twice the army than he did, so I could have easily ran in here and just ended the game right there. Because if any of you are Zerg players, or if you like to play Zerg sometimes, then know this: if the Protoss enemy is going for a mass air build, but he's still making some ground units like Stalkers, like Zealots, especially Speed Zealots, which he of course didn't see yet, but still, if there's the chance, you just need some meat shields for your Hydras. So you need some roaches. Yeah, usually roaches is just the best. They're the best, most cost-effective meat shield that Zerg has on the ground. So you should definitely also build a bunch of Zealots so they can roaches so they can tank the Zealot damage and the Stalker damage and stuff like that, so your Hydras can do most of the work. But this Zerg's problem is also that he's just not that good at macro. He didn't build up to as many probes or as many drones as he would have needed. And that's biting him a little bit. And he's also just now getting his third base, which I am also getting. And I think I'll speed this replay up just a little bit, because not that much is going to happen until both of us are maxed out. Or in my case, I was a little concerned about moving out. You know, you have this brand new shiny mothership and you want to look at it and utilize it properly, and then you become a little bit afraid that it might die if you engage unfavorably and stuff like that. So I'm just sitting here and massing up my army, because I know that my macro skills are a lot better than my opponents. Not that I've actually seen it necessarily, but knowing that I play against a gold opponent, I know that, and myself being at a diamond, respectively master level, at least as a Zerg, I know that my macro is a little bit better, so I can sit back and get to 200 food first, and then I'll move out. And in this case, I'm actually doing something that not many Protoss do. I'm getting shield upgrades, because I have both ground and air army, which I both, and I want to use both of them. So I'm getting shield upgrades, which benefit both of these. And as you can see, I'm getting +3 air weapons already, which is super hard to combat for a Zerg. If a Zerg lets you get this far, you know, massing so many carriers and so many. Well, right now I have just 2, but I have 8 Void Rays and making 2 carriers at a time, and I have a bunch of gateways. So one of the problems with mass air as a Protoss is that usually Zerg won't really let you get that far. They will just, you know, pump so many units before you can even get the first, or the mothership and the first carriers and stuff out. Similar to what the Zerg tried to do here with his Baneling bust. He should have just continued that, because it just takes such a long time to build these gigantic and expensive units. Actually, does he have... No, I thought there was a changeling here in my army. But that was just a zealot from the watchtower. So, I think... Are we going to have an engagement here? I think we are. So, I want to slow this down and back up just a little bit, so we can look at this. Because I can also comment on what's on the Zerg side, because actually my Zerg is a little better than my Protoss, so I can almost comment better on the Zerg side than on the Protoss side, but here it goes. The way I would want to engage this as a Zerg is, first of all, I wouldn't engage this army until I had Neural Parasite for my Infestors, if I want Infestors, and he did. So he should just move back and wait until that's finished. And then, you know, control the carriers, control the mothership, get a really good vortex off on the Protoss's units with his own mothership, which is really unfortunate if that happens to you as a Protoss player. So and he would have needed some other units, not just Hydra. So he would have needed some roaches to be a meat shield to all of this stuff on the ground, and he would need more detection than just one overseer. So that's kind of the thing. Yeah, he has a second one, but that's still not enough. And he is max, or almost, so that's great. His upgrades are lacking a little bit. I was just chrono boosting my stuff all the time. I'm at 3 weapons for air upgrades, so that's already so ridiculous. And yeah, in terms of army value, I'm Actually not that far ahead, but it's going to, we're going to see what's going to happen. Alright, so as a Protoss in this case, I can just engage. There's not that much micromanagement or so to do with carriers and this kind of army. The Zealots are going to be in the front tanking the damage, and there's no way Zerg can actually I'll slow it down a little bit because my frame rate is really going down. There's no way the Zerg can actually focus fire the other units because the Zealots are going to be in the front and Hydras don't have enough range to shoot at the mothership or the carriers or something. And also the Infestors were a little bit useless in this case because, yeah, actually thinking about it, with so many Zealots in the front, you actually will have a hard time getting any of the carriers or the mothership, yeah, putting any neuroparasites on them. So that would be, yeah, that would be really tough to do. Yeah, so Zerg now has a problem. He's lost, oopsie, a lot more than I did. Oops, we can speed it up again. So now it's 7,000 difference in terms of lost units, and before the fight it was only 2,000 difference. Why is my frame rate sucking so hard right now? Okay, yeah, basically the game is over now because I have a 4th expansion, I have my 3rd running, I still have 68 harvesters, and Zerg barely has his 4th running, and some Zealots warping in here and going there. Warping in here and going like this, going there, killing a bunch of stuff, and I think I sent in some Zealots here too because I have a pylon here too. That's also something really useful as a Protoss to do. Just place pylons near the places where you think Zerg is going to expand, or where he's going to expand most likely, and then you can just warp in a little bit later, warp in and just rally them into the mineral line at every location, and it's really not micro intensive. You don't need to do anything else because most Zerg won't have really strong defenses there. So if you warp in, oh damn it, I didn't catch this. I need to comment on this because I'm crying no. And I'm really bad at controlling my mothership at the moment, or that's last time that I played. I was terrible at controlling it. Was kind of alone here, but I want to finish the thought on the Zealot warp-ins. Like, place pylons kind of close to the expansions that you think Zerg is going to take, and on Tal'darim it's really easy because Zergs always take this as their natural base, of course, it's right in front of their base. Usually they take either this base as their 3rd, they're going to destroy the rocks, or if they don't have anything to destroy the rocks with, at first they will take this base, which is kind of like, oops, oh here, down the ramp from their expansion and all the way around here to the other possible 3rd base. And even if they don't take this as 3rd base, as the game gets longer and longer, they will take this as their 4th base. Sometimes they will sneak an expansion somewhere in a remote corner of the map, like here would be a good place for the Zerg to sneak an expansion, so I don't really scout it. And just, you know, place some pylons over the map whenever you have some spare time on your hands, and then when you're engaging or when you are about to engage, just warp in like 5-6 Zealots. If they have a few upgrades, they will kill, even if there's 2 or 3 spine crawlers, they will easily finish them off. So that's a really simple way to deal with, or to put some harassment pressure on the Zerg, or to get an additional, what do I want to say? To get an additional advantage out of, yeah, whatever you do. So now I'm really terrible with my mothership. I actually wanted to place a vortex, and here it goes, and I catch some of the Hydras here, but he maneuvers the rest of them around them, and I just keep lose track of my mothership, and it's so terrible how little damage a mothership can do. It killed 1 Hydra against 5 or 6 Hydras against 6 Hydras, and they just kicked its ass, and it has had so great upgrades. You know, 1, 2, 3 upgrades, and it still went down to just 5 Hydras. So that's really terrible. In all honesty, you should really only go mothership if you just want to have some fun and if you're ready to lose some games and just yeah, have some fun doing that. And if you know that you can get ahead in other ways, like macro-wise, because the Forge Fast Expand is such a great build macro-wise, and because so many Zergs don't know how to counter air properly with speed zealots. So you can take advantage of that and make a mothership, but it's really not that cost effective, to be honest. But it's fun. It's fun to play, and if you start being able to control it, then it's pretty cool and pretty awesome, and pretty entertaining also while you're playing it. Yeah, special tactics is always fun. Right, so I hope you enjoyed this cast. This was again about the Forge Fast Expand build, and to just reiterate it quickly, the probe number 8 rally to the front, or get it to the front around this time, 8 out of 9 supply or 9 out of 9 supply. Put down the pylon so you have this edge barely in range, so you can place down a forge here. Place the forge, place the pylon, go scouting. Then with your 13th worker, get it to the front, place the forge, go scouting on the 4-player map, like Tal'darim. I think the only place maybe where you don't have to go scout with the second one after putting down the forge is when it's basically a 2-player map like Metalopolis. You can kind of do this build. It's a little harder to wall off and stuff, but it's possible. So there's only 2 possible spawn locations, so there you don't really need to send out an additional scout. And I mean, on Xel'Naga Caverns, it's kind of possible to do Forge Fast Expand, but it's really tricky to wall off and keep everything safe, and you would need a bunch of sentries for that. So that's kind of, maybe that's platinum level play that you need there, or even diamond, to properly pull it off. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend it if you want to win that game. If you want to learn something about Forge Fast Expand and how it can be countered and how it can be hard to pull it off, just try it. It's good. It's great learning. Right, and on Xel'Naga Caverns you really don't need a second scout, because there's only one place your opponent can be. But on other maps, just get the second scout off so you can find your opponent quickly and see what the Zerg is up to, you know, how early the pool was, how much gas he has mined, if he has any gas at all, and whether he's going expansion first or pool first, you know, and from there you can judge, can I be really greedy and put my Nexus down first when I have the next 400 minerals, or do I have to get a cannon first and a gate? Do I have to worry about walling off completely, or can I leave some space and then produce a zealot afterwards? You know, all those things. But your goal is to place down your Nexus as fast as possible. That's the reason why you're scouting so aggressively, so to speak. And from there, you just, as soon as you've placed your Nexus and you have done something like cannoning your opponent behind the mineral line, if there's no overlord there, then you put down your initial 2 gas. Whoopsie, why is it jumping? You put down your initial 2 gas because you'll need a lot of gas for attacking, and because your minerals are going to be oversaturated with workers, so you wouldn't benefit as much from putting more workers on minerals, so you get the gases. And then from there you just progress as in a normal game. Whatever build you want to go, if usually you like playing a 4-gate build, then just get up to 7 or 8 gates, timed well with a +1 attack upgrade for your ground weapons, and with the Warp Gate Research, just chrono boost whichever one of them is behind, and go push when that's done. It's almost like a regular 4-gate, except you have more gates and more power, more kaboom. And if you want, you can also go for double Stargate or mix 1 Stargate with Void Rays and something like 5 or 6 gates, which could be great as well, because many Zerg will not get any Hydras if they don't have a good reason to do so. And if you don't show your Void Rays early, then you can just mix some of them into your army, and they are really good because if Zerg has no anti-air, you can just kill roaches really quickly with those. So that's kind of the idea. And you can also go, of course, the mass air build, or you can also go for Colossi. That's something that I rarely do whenever I go for Forge Fast Expand, but it's certainly also something that can work really good. You can put down 2 robo robotics. Oh wait, which building is that? It's the I think, yeah, it's called the facility. Yeah, where the thing you build your colossi in, and the immortals. So put down 2 of those and get the robotics bay, and just, you know, get a bunch of gateway units and colossi that can work really well as well. Just make sure you do a relatively strong push when your warp gate or something is finished, or when your stargates are finishing. Do something with that, because Zerg is going to be busy droning up. You want to harass the Zerg a little bit, and, you know, make his life a little harder, get him to scramble a little, to defend, and to yeah, so he can't macro that hard, so he can't make only drones all the time, and then he'll have more economy even than you have. So that's kind of the thinking behind the transitions possible, the progression possible from a Forge Fast Expand build. And yeah, I think that's it for this replay. I have another one for you where it's also going to be mass air. I kind of like watching these games and playing them and seeing what I could have done better, and just watching the transition and progression of the build. Yeah, and I thought maybe you guys were interested in that, and just to show you another way to play Protoss versus Zerg, basically, which can be really effective, as long as we're not talking about professional play. Maybe in a tournament against really good players, I wouldn't use that, but up to Diamond, I think it's a really viable build. And even, you know, people like Whitera make use of this build and make it work, even in Grandmaster. So there's a lot of room for this build. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. I hope you, yeah, you're going to try it out and see what it gives you, and maybe leave some feedback and let me know what you thought of it, and what else I could bring you in terms of tutorials and builds. So thanks for watching. Have a great time, everyone, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.